Imagine standing in the wreckage of your life, pain, disappointment, shattered dreams all around you. It's easy to feel overwhelmed, to think that what's broken can never be mended. But what if I told you that even in your darkest moments, there's a divine force ready to restore, renew, and resurrect what life has shattered? Today, we're going to explore a truth that has transformed countless lives from brokenness to wholeness. How God restores what life shatters. Stay with me until the end, because what you'll discover could be the turning point in your journey of healing and purpose. Life has a way of shaking us to our core, throwing us into seasons of pain and uncertainty that we never saw coming. It's almost as if at times, life storms come unannounced, and suddenly we find ourselves standing amidst the wreckage of dreams deferred, relationships broken, and hearts shattered. If you're listening today and you feel like you're in that space where everything seems to be falling apart, know that you are not alone. Many of us have faced moments where it felt like the ground beneath our feet was crumbling, where hope seemed distant and the future looked bleak. But here's the truth that often gets overlooked. Acknowledging our brokenness is not a sign of defeat. It's the first step toward real healing. When we talk about brokenness, it's important to understand that it's not something to be ashamed of. It's a universal experience. Every person, at some point in their life, will face seasons where their hearts are heavy, their spirits are weary, and their situations seem beyond repair. Some wounds are visible, scars from physical pain or emotional heartbreak that others can see. But many wounds are invisible, hidden beneath the surface, yet just as real. Just as deep. These invisible scars can be the most difficult to confront because they often go unnoticed, unspoken, and unresolved. We carry them silently, pretending we're okay when inside we're barely holding on. The thing about brokenness is that it's not a permanent state. It's a phase, a chapter. But it is not the story's conclusion. It's easy to get caught up in the pain and allow it to define us. To believe that because we are hurting, we are somehow unworthy of love, purpose, or happiness. But what if I told you that even in your brokenness, there is a divine purpose at work? That your pain is not meaningless. That your scars are not signs of failure, but symbols of survival. Recognizing that we are broken is the first act of courage. It takes vulnerability to admit, I am hurting, or I am struggling. It's a declaration that you refuse to hide behind a facade of strength when deep down, you're breaking inside. In fact, acknowledging brokenness is a form of humility. It requires us to be honest with ourselves and with God about where we are. It's about dropping the masks and facing our reality without shame. Because only when we stop pretending that everything is perfect can true healing begin. When we admit, I am broken, we open the door for God's grace to come in and do what only He can do, restore, renew, and rebuild. It's an act of faith to accept that we are wounded, but still valuable. That despite the cracks, we can still be made whole again. Many of us have been conditioned to believe that showing vulnerability is a weakness, that admitting we're hurt somehow diminishes our strength. But the truth is, vulnerability is the birthplace of healing. It's the space where God's love can flow freely. When you're willing to be transparent about your pain, you create room for divine intervention. You invite God into your broken places, and suddenly, what was once fragile becomes fertile ground for transformation. It's in this space of honesty that you realize you don't have to carry your burdens alone. You don't have to pretend that everything is okay when it's not. Because God's power is most evident when we surrender our brokenness to Him. The process of acknowledging our wounds also involves forgiving ourselves. We often carry shame for what's happened to us or what we've done. We replay painful moments, beating ourselves up for not being stronger or for not having done things differently. But holding on to guilt and self-condemnation only prolongs our pain. Forgiveness is a vital step in recognizing our brokenness because it frees us from the shackles of regret. Forgiving ourselves doesn't mean excusing the hurt or denying what happened. It means releasing the power that those events have over our lives. It's about choosing to believe that God's grace covers even our deepest wounds and that His mercy is bigger than our mistakes. As we come to terms with our brokenness, we begin to see that it's not the end of our story, but a new beginning. It's an invitation to lean into divine restoration. When we're honest about our pain, we create space for God's mercy to flow into every fractured part of our lives. We understand that our brokenness, as painful as it is, can be the foundation upon which God builds something beautiful. It's in our weakness that His strength is made perfect. We learn that our scars are not signs of failure, but testimonies of survival. Every crack, every wound holds a story of resilience and grace. And as we acknowledge these truths, we position ourselves for true transformation, knowing that with God, what's broken can be made whole again. Life's storms can threaten to drown us, but they also teach us resilience. They reveal who we are when we're stripped of everything superficial. They reveal our true strength, the strength that emerges when we acknowledge our vulnerability and invite divine restoration. The journey from brokenness to wholeness begins with this acknowledgement. And it's a journey worth taking because it leads us into the fullness of God's plan for our lives. When we refuse to hide our wounds, but instead bring them into the light, we set ourselves up for divine healing that surpasses our understanding. We start to realize that our brokenness is not the end, but a powerful catalyst for a new beginning, a stepping stone toward the life God designed for us, whole, healed, and empowered. Now, let's move deeper into understanding how God's power works to restore even what seems irreparably broken. Because no matter how shattered you feel, no matter how many pieces you think you've lost, divine restoration is not only possible, it's guaranteed when you trust in His love and His ability to make all things new. Restoration begins with faith. Faith that God's grace is sufficient, faith that His power is greater than any fracture, and faith that your story isn't over. It's about believing that the Creator of the universe specializes in taking broken things and turning them into masterpieces. That's the heart of divine restoration, transforming our pain into purpose and our scars into testimonies. When we embrace our brokenness with honesty and faith, we position ourselves to receive what only God can do, to rebuild what life has shattered, and to make us whole again. The journey from darkness to light is not a straight path, nor is it one that happens overnight. It's a process, sometimes slow, sometimes painful, but always purposeful. When you've been through seasons of despair, it can feel like you're walking through a tunnel with no end in sight. The weight of grief, disappointment, and loss can press down so heavily that it seems impossible to see a way out. But what if I told you that every step you take through that darkness is shaping you into someone stronger, wiser, more resilient than you ever thought possible? That even in your deepest despair, there is a divine hand guiding you toward the light. The truth is, moving from darkness to light is a process that requires patience, unwavering faith, and a willingness to keep going even when every part of you wants to give up. It's important to understand that healing doesn't happen all at once. It's often a series of small, deliberate steps, each building upon the last. Sometimes those steps are forward, other times they feel like setbacks. But every experience, every tear, every moment of doubt is part of the journey. It's in those moments of difficulty that our faith is tested and refined. It's in those dark valleys that our souls are stretched and strengthened, preparing us for the mountaintop. When we're in the midst of our pain, it can be tempting to focus solely on what's lost. We look at the pieces of our shattered dreams and feel overwhelmed by how broken everything seems. But the reality is that darkness is only temporary. It's a space where transformation begins. Moving from despair to hope requires us to hold on to the promise that the dawn is coming. That even when we can't see it, the sun is rising behind the clouds. It's about trusting that God is working behind the scenes, orchestrating our healing in ways we can't always understand. The process involves surrender, letting go of control and leaning into divine timing. It means embracing patience because healing is a journey, not a sprint. Sometimes the wounds we carry take time to mend, and that's okay. It's okay to feel tired, to be weary, to want to give up. But it's in those moments of vulnerability that we find the strength to press on. We learn that our endurance is built through perseverance, and our faith is strengthened when we choose to believe beyond what our eyes can see. The journey from darkness to light also involves embracing hope, clinging to it when everything around us seems bleak. Hope is not just wishful thinking. It's a confident expectation that better days are ahead. It's a firm belief that no matter how long the night, the morning will come. Hope is a gift that sustains us when our circumstances threaten to swallow us whole. It's the anchor that keeps us grounded even when storms rage around us. When we choose hope, we begin to see possibilities beyond our pain. We start to believe that our current suffering is not the end, but a chapter in a larger story of redemption and restoration. And while hope is vital, so is action. Moving from darkness to light requires us to take intentional steps toward healing. Sometimes that means seeking help, whether through counseling, prayer, or community. It's about recognizing that we're not meant to carry our burdens alone. We need others, and we need divine intervention to help us navigate this process. Taking those steps can be intimidating, especially when we're vulnerable, but it's necessary. Growth often begins at the edge of our comfort zone. When we're willing to confront our pain head on and do the hard work of healing, we open ourselves up to divine breakthroughs. Each small step forward is a victory, a sign that we're moving closer to the light. The process of moving from darkness to light is also about renewal, allowing God to breathe new life into what has grown weary and dead. Sometimes we hold on to what no longer serves us, clinging to old wounds and habits that keep us stuck. But God's desire is for us to experience renewal, to be refreshed, restored, and made new. It's a spiritual rebirth that takes place within us when we surrender our pain and open our hearts to divine healing. Renewal is about letting go of the past, forgiving what's been done, and embracing the hope of a new beginning. It's a conscious choice to believe that God can bring beauty out of ashes, life out of death, and hope out of despair. Moving from darkness to light isn't just about individual healing. It's also about embracing a new perspective, seeing ourselves through God's eyes. When we shift our focus from what's broken and what's lost to what God can do, we start to view our circumstances differently. We realize that every season of pain is an opportunity for growth, that every tear is watering the seeds of divine transformation. We begin to understand that our pain has a purpose, that it's shaping us into the resilient, compassionate, purpose-driven individuals we were created to be. This perspective shift fuels our perseverance and keeps us moving forward, even when the road is difficult. The journey from darkness to light also involves trusting that God's timing is perfect. Sometimes we want immediate results, quick fixes, instant healing. But divine restoration requires patience. It's about trusting that God is working on our behalf, even when we can't see it. It's about surrendering our timelines and embracing His. When we do, we discover that His timing is always better than ours because He sees the bigger picture. He knows what we need to become who we're called to be. Trusting in divine timing helps us to relax our grip on control, release our fears, and rest in the assurance that everything is working together for our good. As we continue on this path, we learn to celebrate the small victories, the moments when we choose hope over despair, faith over fear, healing over hurt. We start to recognize that progress isn't always loud or dramatic. Sometimes it's quiet, almost imperceptible. But those small victories add up, and they become the building blocks of our transformation. With every step, we're moving closer to the light, even if it feels like we're crawling at times. We understand that the journey is not about perfection, but perseverance. It's about showing up each day, choosing to believe that better days are coming, and trusting that God is with us every step of the way. The journey from darkness to light is ultimately about discovering who we are in Christ, becoming aware of our worth, our resilience, and our divine purpose. It's about shading the shame that has kept us bound and embracing the truth that we are more than conquerors. When we walk through the darkness with faith, we come out on the other side transformed. We are not the same person who entered that tunnel. We are stronger, wiser, more compassionate, and more hopeful. We realize that even in our deepest pain, God was present, working behind the scenes to bring us into the fullness of His light. This process is ongoing. It's a continual journey of growth, renewal, and hope. Every day is an opportunity to choose light over darkness, hope over despair, faith over fear. When you commit to that journey, you begin to see that the darkness isn't the end, but a necessary part of your story, a story of redemption, resilience, and divine love. You start to understand that healing is a journey, not a destination, and that every step forward is a testament to your strength and faith. It's about trusting in the process, knowing that the God who brought you through the darkness will lead you into the dawn. That's the beauty of the journey, knowing that no matter how long or difficult it may seem, the light is always waiting on the other side, ready to shine brightly into your life and illuminate the new chapter that is unfolding just for you. There's a profound power in understanding that our purpose isn't something we discover outside of ourselves, but something that is already alive within us, waiting to be awakened. Many of us go through life searching for purpose as if it's hidden somewhere out there, trying to find it in the approval of others, in the titles we hold, or in the possessions we accumulate. But purpose isn't something we chase after. It's something we awaken to when we begin to listen deeply to who we are created to be. It's about recognizing that our unique gifts, our passions, our pain, and our story all hold pieces of a larger puzzle designed specifically for us to complete. Sometimes the greatest barrier to discovering our purpose is the noise of the world, the voices that tell us we're not enough, or that our dreams are too big, too small. or simply impossible. We get caught up in comparing ourselves, measuring our worth against the standards set by society, or even worse, by our own doubts. But purpose is not something that can be measured by worldly standards. It's rooted in divine design. When we quiet the noise, when we silence the doubts, and when we turn inward with honesty and courage, we begin to hear the whisper of our true calling. It's a gentle yet persistent whisper that reminds us of who we are at our core, loved, valuable, and purposed. The journey to purpose is also about embracing your story. Every triumph, every failure, every heartbreak, and every victory. Your story isn't a mistake. It's a masterpiece in progress. Every chapter, every scar, every lesson learned is part of what makes you uniquely qualified to fulfill your purpose. When you see your life as a collection of divine assignments, you realize that nothing is wasted. Even your pain has a purpose. Even your setbacks are setups for something greater. Purpose is about understanding that your life is a canvas and God is the artist. Painting a picture that only you can complete. You don't have to wait for some perfect moment or ideal circumstances to step into your purpose. Purpose is often revealed in the process, in the small steps of obedience that lead you forward. It's in saying yes to opportunities that align with your passions, even when they seem small or uncertain. It's about showing up authentically, bringing your whole self to every situation, and trusting that God will multiply your efforts. When you walk in alignment with your purpose, you radiate a confidence that isn't dependent on external validation, but rooted in knowing that you are walking in divine assignment. There's also a powerful truth that purpose isn't just about what you do, it's about who you become. The process of fulfilling purpose is as much about transformation as it is about achievement. It's about becoming the person God created you to be, full of integrity, compassion, resilience, and love. When you pursue purpose with a pure heart, you're not just impacting others, you're also being shaped into a better version of yourself. It's in those moments of growth, of stretching beyond your comfort zone, where your character is forged and refined. Purpose molds us, and in the process, we often discover strength and grace we didn't know we possessed. Sometimes the obstacles on our path to purpose are internal, a voice of fear, doubt, or inadequacy that tries to keep us small. But purpose requires us to confront those inner critics and to step boldly despite the noise of our insecurities. It's about choosing faith over fear, believing that what God has deposited in us is enough to make a difference. When we understand that our purpose is not about perfection, but about obedience, we free ourselves from the burden of trying to be flawless. We realize that it's okay to stumble, to fall, to get up again, because each failure is simply a stepping stone toward the fulfillment of our divine destiny. Understanding purpose also brings clarity about boundaries. When you know what you're called to do, you start to see what belongs in your life and what doesn't. Purpose gives you permission to say no to what distracts or detracts from your calling. It helps you prioritize the things that align with your divine assignment and release what doesn't serve your growth. Boundaries are not barriers. They are the guardrails that keep you focused and aligned with your purpose. They preserve your energy, protect your peace, and enable you to give your best to what truly matters. The pursuit of purpose is a lifelong journey, not a one-time event. It's a continuous unfolding, a process of discovery, refinement, and obedience. As you walk this journey, you'll find that purpose isn't just about your own fulfillment, it's about serving others and making a difference. Your purpose is intertwined with your influence, and your influence is meant to extend beyond your own life to impact the world around you. When you understand that your life has significance, but your story can inspire others, and that your gifts are meant to serve, you step into a greater sense of responsibility and joy. Purpose isn't just about personal success. It's about living a life that leaves a legacy. And in the pursuit of purpose, you'll face seasons of doubt and discouragement. You'll encounter setbacks and moments where you question if you're on the right path. That's part of the process. But purpose is bigger than your fears. It's rooted in divine promise. When you lean into that promise, when you remind yourself that you are chosen, called, and equipped, you find the strength to keep going. Purpose is about perseverance. It's about holding on to hope even when the road gets tough. It's about trusting that God's plan for your life is greater than any obstacle, any disappointment, or any delay. There's a divine timing to everything. Sometimes what you're called to do doesn't happen overnight. Sometimes it takes years of preparation, patience, and faith. But every step you take, no matter how small, moves you closer to fulfilling your purpose. The key is to remain faithful in the process, to keep showing up with integrity, and to keep listening for divine guidance. Your purpose isn't just a destination, it's a journey of becoming, a process of divine alignment. And as you walk that path, you'll discover that living purposefully is the most fulfilling way to live, because it's in purpose that we find true joy, peace, and fulfillment. Now, let's talk about the importance of legacy, how what we do today echoes through eternity. Purpose isn't just about us, it's about the impact we leave behind. Every act of kindness, every moment of courage, every sacrifice we make adds to the story of our lives. When we live with purpose, we live with intention, knowing that our lives are part of a larger narrative, one that can inspire generations to come. The question is, what kind of legacy are you building? Are you investing in what truly matters? Are you living in alignment with your divine purpose? Because the legacy you leave is a reflection of your commitment to living intentionally, passionately, and authentically. Living purposefully also means embracing your uniqueness. There's no one else exactly like you, and that's by divine design. When you step into your authentic self, you unlock the power to influence and inspire in ways nobody else can. Your story, your gifts, your voice, they're all necessary pieces of the puzzle that the world needs. When you stop trying to be someone else or fit into someone else's mold, you give yourself permission to shine brightly in your own unique way. That's where true influence begins, when you embrace your identity and walk boldly in your calling. Living purposefully is also about resilience, the ability to keep going even when the journey gets tough. Purpose isn't a smooth ride. It's a rugged road that tests your faith, patience, and commitment. It's about standing tall despite opposition, about trusting that every challenge is shaping you into the person you're meant to become. Purpose pushes us beyond our limits and invites us to grow through adversity. It's in those moments of struggle that our character is refined and our resolve is strengthened. When you understand that your purpose is bigger than your problems, you find the strength to persevere, to press on, and to believe that your best days are still ahead. Living with purpose also means being intentional about your relationships. Surround yourself with people who uplift, inspire, and challenge you to be your best self. Purpose is not a solo journey. It's woven into the community and the connections we nurture. The people we choose to walk alongside us can either propel us forward or hold us back. When you align yourself with those who share your vision and values, you create a support system that fuels your passion and keeps your purpose alive. It's about investing in relationships that are rooted in love, authenticity, and mutual growth. As you continue to pursue your purpose, remember that patience and persistence are your best friends. Sometimes the breakthrough you're praying for is just around the corner, waiting for the right moment. Sometimes the delay is divine protection. Trust that every season has a purpose, and every setback is an opportunity to learn and grow. Keep your eyes on the prize. Stay anchored in faith and keep moving forward with courage. Purpose isn't about perfection, it's about progress. It's about showing up each day with a renewed commitment to live out the calling God has placed on your life. Living purposefully means embracing that you're in a process of becoming. You're not yet who you're destined to be, but each step you take is guiding you closer. You're growing, learning, improving, and evolving. Your purpose is unfolding in real time, shaped by your choices, your faith, and your willingness to trust divine guidance. When you understand that purpose is a journey, not a destination, you free yourself from the pressure of trying to have it all figured out at once. Instead, you focus on being faithful in the present moment, knowing that God is working everything out for your good. Purpose gives your life a sense of meaning and direction. It anchors your identity and aligns your actions with your divine calling. When you live with purpose, your life becomes a testament to the power of faith, resilience, and intentional living. It's about waking up each day with a sense of mission, knowing that your life matters and that your story is still being written. Purpose empowers you to face each challenge with courage, to celebrate each victory with gratitude, and to leave a legacy that inspires others to discover their own divine calling. It's a journey worth pursuing, and as you walk it, you'll find that the most fulfilling life is the one lived in alignment with your divine purpose.